Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. Okay, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back. Hold on a second. We got to mark this. All right, how's that, Mr. Producer? Is that better? Okay. Guys, I am joined by the one and only Miss Danielle Anatra. Welcome back to the program, Miss Danielle.
Hello, how are you?
Terrific. Can you let people know the awesome work that you do and the name of your company and anything you want the audience to know before we get going?
Sure. My name's Danielle Anatra. I just kind of use that as my business name as well. I'm a medium, I'm a mentor, and that's it and more.
And a lot more. You do a lot of
A lot more.
a lot of things. Now you're in Henderson, Nevada, but also you have a place in Massapequa,
New
both
York.
places. But you could help anybody virtually. You could do
Oh
these
yeah.
sessions all over the place, right?
Yeah, virtually, I could help everybody. So I do have clients all over the country, and in other countries as well. So I have clients everywhere, but I was based out of New York for probably like 9 of the years that I've been in business. And then since February, the past like 6 months, 7 months or so, I've just moved to Nevada. So
Okay.
I'm here now.
Do you speak another language? Can you speak Italian or anything?
Absolutely not.
No, just as long as someone can speak English, then you can help them.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Because I know that you have
I
people.
wish I could speak another language.
Me too. Yeah. I took
That
Latin.
would be very helpful.
I was supposed to
Mhm.
help your SATs.
Yeah.
That it didn't work.
It's but although I do have a few friends who speak Spanish, so they have helped me translate readings before.
Oh,
So I've
okay.
I've done something like that too, but it's not still as difficult to work with as you would think. It's
I
actually
would
easier
think
to
it would
have
be
like
hard.
that translator. Yeah. I can still communicate with spirit even if
They speak
spirit
no language,
spoke a
right?
different language because it doesn't matter. There's no language barrier because it's more of like a feeling. I might know that they spoke another language, but it's more of a feeling and a knowing of what they're saying. So,
So have you ever done a reading where because you were just saying that uh, it's not like hi, I'm George, I've passed on, I am Casey's uncle, here's what I'm going to tell you. It's not like that at all, right? It's just something that you feel.
I wish it was that easy.
It would be great, right? George says that something silly, but it's not like
Yeah.
that at all.
No, not really. It's more of a feeling or a knowing. Like I know they're saying this. I know they're saying that. When my clairaudience comes in, they're actually speaking. They don't generally speak in full sentences. It's more of like they might say a few words or a sound or something like that, and it's more of like you feel the words, if that
Okay.
makes sense, or you just know what they're thinking or what they're saying.
Do they ever give you a name or anything?
Yeah.
That
Yes.
happens. That happens sometimes.
Definitely. Yeah. It's hard to pull names. And I will say names are hit or miss. I'm not a lot of people work like, oh, I have a J name or I have this. I don't usually work like that. It's either the name or it's not. I'll be like, all right, I have a James coming through and it's either James or I'm wrong. Like there's no there's nothing like that except maybe a nickname like Bob or Rob, like something like that. But yeah, sometimes I will pull the names, yes, but it doesn't happen every single reading though, no.
What was I know we have a we're gonna we have a great topic that you gave us today, but I wanted to know, um, Mr. Producer, my sound is okay. Yeah, okay. Just wanted to check. Um, I always love hearing stuff like this, and I think I've asked you before, but can you tell us just to get started? What was the? I know there were probably thousands of times, but one that comes to your head where you were doing a reading and the person just was just floored because of something or someone or realized something.
Well, you know what, different things will floor people because some people it's they don't believe in mediums and they're coming and like you could just get like that they have a mom in spirit and that floors them sometimes. But some things that spirit gave me one time, and it was like something that made me like, oh my God, like I couldn't even believe it that it, I was doing a reading for somebody once, and I saw my symbol from spirit that they were cremated. And so I said, whoever, I'm making up whoever it was, but
Yeah,
let's
right.
say it was their brother. And I said, oh, I feel a male coming through. He's telling me he's your brother. I feel this is sibling of yours. They're showing me that they were cremated, and they said yes. And then I saw a clown mask in my mind, and I was like, spirit really made me feel like they cremated him in a clown mask. And to me, that sounds absolutely crazy. So I almost didn't say it. And I said, I was like, you know what? I was like, this is really out there, but I'm just going to put it out there for you. I said, but did you cremate him in a clown mask? And they started crying and they were like, oh
Oh
my
my
God. And I was like, oh my God. And they said that because the guy was a big jokester. So
Oh
it was like their
my,
last joke to him. And I guess that's
wow.
just how the family like had their humor. And that was something that was like I always will have in the back of my
I
head
will
because
always
it
remember that.
helped me. Well, you know what though, it helped me learn though that trust spirit no matter how
I,
freaking
I,
weird it is,
you got
like
this.
whatever they're saying or whatever
Yeah.
you're feeling. Yeah, and and if you're feeling something and it's wrong, and if I said that and it was wrong, I just translated it wrong because I know what I'm seeing. So I might have just translated something incorrectly. In that case, it was, exactly what they were telling me, but it was very weird. But it just shows you, like, just put it out there, no matter how weird it is,
Thank you for
because
sharing
it's
that.
right.
That is an
Yeah.
incredible story. And when you told your husband that, did he later make like a note or tell you, I swear I will never ever even white lie anything to you because
You know what?
you're on a
I
different
don't,
level than us.
I don't even remember if I told him that story or not. I don't even remember if I told him, but he probably would have. Yeah, I know he probably would have said something like that. He already doesn't lie to me, so
No, I
I'll
was
be like,
just
"Who is here?"
I was just making a joke. That's all.
I know.
I'm sure that's the case, and it's just something when you realize you're married to someone who has a gift like this that can see something. I mean, that's one of those things. Like 1 out of 50 million, could someone ever get that? If it wasn't something that you saw.
it, it's not as rare as you think. I know I have
A
plenty of
clown mask
friends.
pre come on.
Yeah. I mean, I have so many friends who do this work that are absolutely incredible mediums, and I can't remember anything off the top of my head, but they can give you stories that would like blow that one out of the water. Like, you know what? There's so many incredibly gifted people in the world, and it's just a matter of showing them how to open themselves up so that they can do it, you know?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's
I,
so many gifted people out there.
yeah, I know I've asked this, and please excuse me to reiterate, but um, I I, I got to know because the answer changes, and I forgot what you said. Is this something that you worked and you did the research and you worked yourself to the bone to get to a place to heighten that gift, or were you just born with something so unique?
Unknowingly, I've had this gift my entire life, but it came so naturally that I didn't realize I had anything special. Okay. And once I realized that I did, I had to work to develop it. It's the same thing like, you know, a baseball player could pick up a bat and swing it and do great at it, but in order to be on a professional team, he has to practice and he has to get better. It's not going to just happen, so you have to kind of work with the gifts that you have,
Gotcha.
like anything.
Right, right. So
Mm-hmm.
that entailed you going out and finding that one person you talked about that believed in you and kind of
So
showed
yeah.
you a little of the ropes and stuff.
Yeah, I had two mentors that I still work with, very strongly, and they're both absolutely wonderful. One helped me start developing, and one helped me continue, and I still work with both of them today. They're both wonderful. And
Right.
actually, the mediumship and anxiety that we're talking about today, I learned a lot about that from my first mentor. She wrote a book. And she specializes in this, and I feel like this is kind of where my expertise kind of leaning towards as well. So I credit her for a lot of the things I know about all of this. Pat Longo, she's wonderful.
Pat Longo, a
Mm-hmm.
Long Island person?
Yeah, she was Long Island Medium's mentor, so that's where a lot of people would have heard her name or know her from.
Cool, cool. Well,
Yeah.
this
Mhm.
this is going to be great because we're going to talk about mediumship versus anxiety. And I was asking you beforehand. I was going to ask you, uh, am are we talking about the anxiety that let's just say I'm your client. I'm coming to you because I want to get rid of some of the anxiety I have, or is it, or are we talking about me? Maybe I'm the first time coming to you as a client, and I'm wondering if during our session I don't know what's really going to happen, so I'm getting anxiety. Can you
Mhm.
kind of just decipher the two?
Yeah, a lot of times anxiety will anxiety is a buildup of energy. Spirit is energy. So a lot of times spirit, if you're a medium and spirit keeps coming to you, you're gonna feel that. You're gonna feel that anxiety. When I first started doing this, before I did this, I've had anxiety my entire life. I got diagnosed with everything you could imagine, as far as like, autoimmune disease, ADHD. I even got diagnosed with a mild form of Tourette's as a teenager, but not the speaking Tourette's, more of like a tic. I
Okay.
used to blink my eyes like all the time, like I to the point where it hurt. I would just cry because it just hurt so bad, and I didn't know what to do. And then once I started doing this work, about a year or two into it, when I finally got my energy under control, everything just stopped. I don't do it anymore.
Wow.
And I worked with a lot of people that had the same issues, like, autoimmune disease, everything just kind of either diminishes or goes away.
Okay.
And the more well seated you are in your work and your own energy and what you do, the more it would diminish that. It takes longer for some people than it did for others. It took me almost 2 years of doing the work. I was, working professionally and doing it, but I still had an issue the first 2 years trying to get my energy under control, because you just want to kind of tap into everything and you still kind of tapping into everything. So you have to learn how to set boundaries and really get yourself more grounded and under control, and then you'll have control over everything.
Okay. All right. So my
Mhm.
question to you now is, say I'm a potential client and I suffer from real bad anxiety. Uh,
Mhm.
it's affecting my family, it's affecting my job, and my question is from the outside is how is mediumship going to help my anxiety?
Well, if it is spirit that is coming to you, and that is what happened, what's happening, you have to get control of the energy around it. The energy is something inside you that builds. So everyone has a different route for their issues. So for instance, if you want to listen to the radio and you need to tune into a certain station, and some stations are fuzzy, some aren't. And to do that, you have to find your frequency. And once you do that, it's easier to hear and listen to whatever you need to. And after playing with the dial, you learn the station that comes in clearest for you, and it's easier for you to access. So it's the same thing. It's just about finding your frequency.
Okay.
Hmm.
So specifically, like if you're doing a reading, how or do I have to put my finger on what
I might, I
certain?
don't, well, it's weird because if I'm doing a reading, I might pick up on the anxiety and maybe what the cause of it is, but I'm not really, working with you at it, because this is something you're going to be working at for a long time. So that's more of like a mentoring thing. But during a reading, I may just pick up on it and, what it's stemming from. Because for everyone it's different. A lot of times, it's spirit and they're mediums or healers or something, and they need to like kind of just get that energy out. Some other times it's a matter of it's fear, and it's a matter of them kind of taking control. No matter what it is, it's them having to take control of their own energy. So if you're fearful about things or you stress out easily about everything, like why? Like what's the root of that? Why does that keep happening to you? Because when you can figure out what it is, you can work with yourself so you can get out of it and get out of that emotion that you're feeling. Because anything from fear, it's not going to do good things to your body.
Got you. So
Mm-hmm.
you don't even have to know. I just got to tell you, hey, I am feeling anxiety. And then during the session, you can kind of work and see what you found because everyone's different.
Everyone's different. different. And sometimes that doesn't even come up in a reading. It depends on what the person needs,
Mm.
or needs to gain from the reading. Like sometimes right before a reading, I'm sitting in my office and I start getting anxious and I'm like, why am I getting anxious? And the person comes in and they're like rocking back and forth and then, so I'm
You
like,
knew it
you're
was
picking
coming.
up on, yeah. So you're picking up on the person. When I first started, I was like, oh my God, why am I nervous to do a reading? And then I'm like, I'm not nervous to do a reading, and it would take me a second. But now I'm like, if I feel it, I'm like, oh, this person's nervous. So I usually just take a little extra time with them, like in the beginning, and I'll sit and I'll just talk to them for a few minutes and like make them feel comfortable so they can kind of,
So your
you know,
energy can calm their energy down
it could, yeah, it could.
sometimes.
I try to do that because the calmer there are, the more open they are to receiving any information that comes. Because sometimes if they're so nervous, they're not even hearing anything that you're saying, and it's going to be a waste for them. So you want them to be relaxed and whatever. So I'll just talk to them. I'll tell them like a funny story or something, just get them to calm down because you want everyone to get the most out of the reading, and
Right, right.
you want them to really learn something, or you know, food for thought.
I got
So,
you. So what?
mhm.
Has there ever been a time, or is it the majority of the time, where you do a reading, and we're talking about mediumship, right? We're talking
Mhm.
about a mediumship reading. So, say someone comes from their past or whatever, are they able to subside their anxiety just by knowing that person's there, or whatever they have to give messages to you, and you
Yeah.
pass on?
A lot of people feel guilty around people's passings. Even if they're not responsible for them, sometimes they feel responsible, or they put the responsibility on them and they feel, like they could have done something, or, whatever it is. So sometimes having that person come through and tell them like, it wasn't your fault, or, whatever it was. Like one time, and I have to be delicate sharing the story, but what's cool, one time somebody
As long
came
as you
in
don't
and
say
just
any names, it's okay.
no, no, and they're okay with me sharing it because they said it, but I just want to be,
Yeah. No, you're doing the right
um,
thing.
yeah, they came in for this person actually ended up, ended up being close with me, and they're fine with me sharing. But they came in once and they came in for a reading for guidance. They just wanted guidance with like work and this and that. And somebody from the past came through in the reading. And it was this person that passed away and from an overdose. And because this person was kind of a little like on the drugs too, they felt responsible because they had gotten them the drugs that took their life.
They got them for
And yeah, so that happens. And I say that because this has happened more times than I can count, during a reading. So, that's a major thing that people feel really, guilty for, or they feel like if someone was depressed and took their own life, they feel like maybe I could have said something, maybe I could have talked to them, maybe I could have, did something to, make them feel better.
the
And
guilt. Yeah.
you know, yeah, and these people, they come in and it's like I wouldn't know the words to say to you to make you feel better, but when they come in, it's like the words that just come out are like it really could help a lot of people just feeling that. So
And did
yeah,
that give some composure, some comfort to
yes.
that person?
Well, actually, yeah, yeah, it
Good,
did.
good,
Hmm.
good. Yeah, that's a real tough one. Um,
Yeah, there's some people that they're just so depressed and they come and they think like, coming to a medium or a psychic is like their last stop, and people don't realize how serious this work is. People like, they always like to put it in the category of entertainment and, this, but I mean, I can't even tell you like some of the people that come to me that leave me like, you really feel for people. I have a whole Rolodex like in my office, just like, suicide hotlines and
uh,
like recovery coaches. And I actually got certified to be a recovery coach at one point because I wanted to learn more about it and just to help people because I got a lot of people who were like with drinking and drugs and eating disorders and things like that. So I wanted, I don't have all the answers for you, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not a therapist, I'm nothing like that, but I always want to be able to guide you to someone that can help you so that I don't have to be your last stop and somebody else could do it. People don't realize the seriousness, the heaviness that this work could could really bring. There's a lot of people with a lot of, I could tell you stories for days, and they're very, very sad, but doing this work, you have to learn to detach,
Oh,
like big time.
you must.
I used to come home in the beginning, I would come home crying every single day, like, because I would just feel for these people. And now I'm able to let it go. I could still, like, I empathize with people more than you can imagine, but I can't take it on, and I can't take it with me. I used to go so over and beyond, and where it was like disrupting my energy, and I had to really learn to find balance with all of that. So if you're looking to do this full time, or you're looking to do this like just on a larger basis, or even part time, you have to know that you're going to get things like that you have to be able to detach from. That's why the personal development work is really important when you do that. I can't stress it enough.
Wow. So those boundaries, it's like you're working in the ER.
Yeah.
Does it feel like
Yeah.
that sometimes? Like,
Sometimes, yeah, sometimes it's crazy. It's just, it's so crazy. And then, but then there's also a lot of times where this is so much fun, like I do like group readings sometimes, and you have people laughing and crying at the same time, like spirits bringing through the laughter and the crying. And sometimes they get like, their personality shows, and like someone's crying because they lost their son, and they'll make a joke like, what, like, you can wash my dirty clothes now, it's getting ridiculous, like, like something like that. And like you just bring like, they bring that laughter to it if that's their personality. So I'm like, this work just encompasses like every emotion you could imagine. You feel like you're cracking up.
I bet, I bet. And it must be cool that, no day is the same, I'm sure. And
Never.
you never know what to expect, even though,
Mm-mm.
you're the one that's doing work like
Yeah.
this. Like, how come she doesn't know what's going? Well, not until she gets in the session. I mean,
Exactly.
she's not like I always wanted to know, can you do that remote viewing?
Yeah. Remote viewing is a lot of fun. It's a way that I practice a lot of my clairvoyance. I used to have like, one of my neighbors like write a number on a piece of paper and leave it on his refrigerator. And I'd be like across the street or where I was. And I would like sit there, I close my eyes and imagine like walking out my door, walking across the street, going in front of in his house on his refrigerator and looking at the number and seeing what it was. So I used to do some things like that. And there's things online you could do. I took a couple of remote viewing classes at a couple of retreats that I went to. They're a lot of fun. For me, it's hard. It's really hard. But it's good though. Like 70% of the time, I think I could get something that, is on it, but I have to, it's a science. Like they actually have like classes in college, like that you could take on remote viewing
So
and things
cool.
like that. And I think it's so fascinating
It
and it's
is.
so cool.
It
So
really is.
that's something I always want to like get a little better at. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I
That's
always ask you.
awesome.
I always ask you because I want to know. And for some reason, I had thoughts about my father while we were doing this
Mhm.
research. Is anybody in here now? I always check with you just to make sure. Is anybody
I
here?
always check with you.
Yeah.
Well, I always tell people when they come in for a reading, you're walking in with at least 5 people. Like, we all have,
Always.
even if there's always people around you that are like watching over you and loving you. If your father, if you felt him or he came to you, like, or you feeling like the thought of him when he's in there for a reading with you, you can guarantee that
So that's why.
he's with you. Yeah. Like there's so many people, like if I try to tune into it right now, I feel like, for you, I do feel your father, but I feel also there's about like 7 or 8 people like behind him almost. I feel like unfortunately, a lot of people before their time around you, a lot, but they're not all stepping forward to give messages, because I know we're we're going low for time, but there you have about like 7 or 8 men behind you, like
Oh,
younger men that passed before their time.
why?
Your father's there. Mhm.
I'm
No,
sorry. I didn't
sorry,
mean
go
to
ahead.
interrupt because
uh,
there was a little lag. So
oh, okay.
that's why I
I'm
didn't mean to
noticing that
interrupt.
today.
Yeah, I didn't mean to interrupt,
Yeah,
but
I'm
stop.
noticing that. That's okay.
So can I ask? I know we only got a couple of seconds, but people love this stuff and they're so
Yeah.
interested, and of course so am I. But If it happens to be my father and who's here, and then there are 7 people behind it, why do what makes people be together in this other dimension, do I say?
It's like a soul family, it's your soul family. Like you know them, whether it's you that brought them together or everybody was together in another lifetime. And it doesn't they don't always have to come through together either. They could just be there. They could just be there. Like your dad is with your grandfather as well. And your grandfather is so proud of you because he said that you broke the mold of the men in your family. And he said that and he said that you broke the mold with your kindness and the good things that you do, because it's the way that the men in your family always wanted to be, but just you know what I'm saying?
That's probably why they're standing in back of my father. They probably
yeah, they're very proud of who you've become. They really are.
That's nice. Yeah, I appreciate that. I didn't want to make this about me, but I always got to check to see who's with me, because and
you're so funny. Like, I don't want to make this about me, but is my dad behind me?
Yeah, no, but I always want to know. I ask every time, like, who's here? Because I so when we think about these people, that means they're there.
Yeah, it just is. That's the subtle way that they're supposed to be letting you know that they're around.
Got it. Got it. Hey, really what a great show about talking about anxiety and what you do. Danielle Anatra, you can help so many different people. All you need is to speak English, or have a friend that can translate. Do it through Zoom, do it in person. Danielle, tell us anything you want to leave us with, your closing thoughts, and then how do we get a hold of you?
Okay, so well, this Friday I wanted to tell everyone I'm going to be doing a virtual group reading on Zoom, so you can kind of see how it doesn't matter where you are. We could, you could still read. I'm doing it with one of my mentors, Brad Fazensky. So the two of us will be doing a group reading together. And this month, I'm also going to be giving away a free reading. The drawing is going to be held next Thursday, September 8th. So you can enter for this on my website by going to danielleanatra.com/free reading. And on my site, you'll also be able to register for the group reading this Friday if you wanted to.
Awesome. All right. Sounds great. And I want to thank my guest. I want to thank everyone who wrote in that I didn't get a chance to get to. But Danielle Anatra, another great show. I thank you. And before we go, are they still there?
They're not going anywhere, Casey.
All right. Tell them to relax. All right. I gotta work today. So tell them to keep it down. Danielle Anatra.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned.
This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.